Welcome to Cryptid Files. I'm your host, Paige Carter. In the heart of the North American pine forests, the night is alive with 1,000 sounds, a chorus of crickets, and the call of the lonely whip-poor-will. Yet, there are moments when the woods fall eerily silent, as if the very air is holding its breath. It is in these silent spaces that the elusive inhabitants of the deep woods, known as the crawlers, are said to emerge. Their sightings are few and far between, whispered about in hushed tones by seasoned hunters and park rangers, tales passed down from generation to generation in rural communities. Pale, emaciated figures, almost skeletal, standing at unnerving heights, their arms touching the ground. They move with a disturbing fluidity, their bodies seeming to ripple as they crawl along the forest floor, their eyes reflecting the moonlight in an unsettling glow. They are creatures of paradox. Despite their size and distinctive appearance, they remain elusive, slipping into the shadows of the forest, disappearing as quickly as they appear. They are creatures of silence, their presence marked by a sudden stillness, a hush that descends upon the woods, causing even the most vociferous of animals to quieten. Take the account of a seasoned hunter, whose years of experience had taught him the rhythm and patterns of the forest. He spoke of a night when that rhythm was disrupted, the usual sounds of the forest replaced by a profound silence. He described a feeling of being watched, a sense of unease that crawled up his spine. His eyes scanned the darkness, and there they were, a pair of reflective eyes staring back at him from the shadows. Then there is the tale of an old park ranger who spoke of an encounter with something he couldn't explain. He described seeing a figure, pale and gaunt, move with an unnatural speed, crawling along the forest floor. The sight of it sent a cold shiver down his spine, the memory of it haunting him to this very day. These accounts, and countless others, paint a chilling picture of what lurks within the depths of our forests. Yet, the crawlers remain shrouded in mystery. Who are they? Where do they come from? And what is their purpose? The answers remain elusive, hidden deep within the heart of the woods, locked away behind a wall of silence and shadows. As we venture deeper into the world of the crawlers, we tread on the thin line between the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen, the understood and the inexplicable. Tracing the historical origins of the crawlers, we find ourselves in the deep woods of North America. The first reports emerge from indigenous tribes who have long dwelt on these lands. For centuries, they have passed down tales of the Tall Ones, ghostly pale figures who roam the forest depths. They appear in tribal lore as omens of impending change or disruption, instigators of unexplained phenomena, or sometimes protectors of the wilderness itself. In the 19th century, as settlers spread across the continent, stories of these eerie humanoids began to seep into the fabric of pioneering communities. Loggers, trappers, and prospectors returning from the wilderness would speak of encounters with spectral figures that moved like smoke through the trees. Their tales, often shared over campfires or in hushed whispers at the local saloons, added fuel to the burgeoning legend. As the country moved into the 20th century, these accounts became more widespread. With the advent of national parks and an increase in outdoor recreational activities, more people ventured into the deep woods. Consequently, sightings of the crawlers began to surface with greater frequency. These encounters were often published in local newspapers or shared over radio broadcasts, adding to the collective consciousness of the crawlers. The cultural context surrounding these sightings is also crucial to understand. The crawlers seem to embody the settlers' fear and awe of the vast, untamed wilderness. They became symbolic of the unknown dangers lurking in the shadows of the forest. This sense of fear and unease, coupled with the human inclination toward storytelling, allowed the legend of the crawlers to take root and grow. With the rise of the internet and digital communication in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, recounting experiences with these creatures took a new turn. Stories were no longer confined by geographical boundaries or faced the risk of being forgotten over time. Online platforms became a space where people could share their encounters, engage in discussions, and even organize expeditions to seek out these enigmatic beings. As more and more people began to share their experiences, the narrative around the crawlers evolved. They were no longer just a part of local folklore or isolated incidents, but a shared mystery that captured the imagination of people worldwide. Yet, despite the increasing number of accounts and the global interest, the crawlers continue to remain elusive, their existence confined to whispers in the dark and fleeting glimpses in the deep woods. They are a puzzle, an enigma that seems to defy understanding, a reminder of the mysteries that linger in the shadows of our world. The first-hand accounts of the crawlers are as diverse as the people who share them. Some describe the beings as emaciated, their skin stretched tight over a skeletal frame. Others report the crawlers as slightly more robust, their bodies cloaked in a thin layer of white or grayish fur. In most accounts, however, the creature's humanoid form is unmistakable, with long limbs and a hunched posture. Their fingers, typically described as elongated and tipped with sharp claws, seem perfectly designed for a life in the wilderness. A particularly chilling account comes from a hunter in the Pacific Northwest. He recounts a late autumn evening when he was tracking a deer through the dense undergrowth. Suddenly, he felt a palpable shift in the air, a sensation of being watched. Turning around, he found himself face to face with a crawler. The creature's eyes, he said, glowed with an eerie luminescence, illuminating the deep-set features of its face. It watched him with an unblinking stare before melting back into the forest. In the stories from the Appalachian region, the crawlers are often associated with a distinct, unpleasant odor, described as a mix of rotting leaves and wet fur. Locals believe that this smell is a warning, a sign that a crawler is nearby. This has led to numerous tales of hikers abruptly ending their journey, driven away by an overpowering stench. The crawlers' impact on the communities cannot be understated. In some regions, their presence has deeply informed local customs and traditions. In parts of the Midwest, for instance, it's considered bad luck to venture into the woods after sundown, a practice attributed to avoiding encounters with the crawlers. In contrast, some communities have embraced the legend, incorporating it into their local identity. The small town of Hallowell, Maine, holds a yearly crawler festival, where residents share their stories, create artwork, and even hold a parade featuring a crawler as the central figure. The crawler's influence extends beyond the boundaries of folklore and tradition. They have unwittingly become a part of ecological conversations as well. Some argue that the creature's existence indicates the presence of a previously unknown ecosystem deep in the woods, a testament to the richness and diversity of our natural world. Despite the varying accounts and regional differences, there is a thread that binds these stories, the profound sense of awe and fear that the crawlers inspire. They are a constant reminder of the unknown, a symbol of the mysteries that still exist in the unexplored corners of our world, waiting to be uncovered. One of the most fascinating aspects of the crawler's narrative is the physical evidence that has been presented over the years. Numerous photographs have surfaced, purporting to show these elusive beings in their natural habitat. These images often depict pale, slender figures hidden amongst the trees, their large, luminous eyes peering out from the shadows. However, the authenticity of these photographs is often a point of contention. While some are convinced of their legitimacy, others argue that they are the result of clever manipulation or misinterpretation of natural phenomena. Footprints have also been touted as proof of the crawler's existence. These imprints, typically found deep in the woods, are said to be long, narrow, and with elongated toes, bearing a strange resemblance to both human and avian footprints. Some have even claimed to find claw marks nearby, hinting at a possible predatory nature of these creatures. Recordings, too, have played a significant role in the crawler lore. The haunting sound attributed to these creatures is often described as a high-pitched shriek echoing through the silent forest, sending chills down the spines of those who hear it. Some have compared it to the cry of a banshee, while others liken it to the sound of metal scraping against stone. In rare instances, alleged remains have been discovered. These include fragments of bone and tufts of hair, pale and luminous as the creatures themselves are described to be. However, these findings often crumble under scientific scrutiny, with tests revealing them to be from common animals such as deer or bears. A number of researchers, investigators, and cryptozoologists have devoted their careers to verifying the existence of the crawlers. Dr. Eleanor Hargrove, a renowned anthropologist, has spent decades studying the mythology and physical evidence associated with these creatures. Her work, while controversial, has brought a much-needed academic lens to the crawler phenomena. Hargrove's investigations suggest that the crawlers could be a remnant population of an ancient hominid species forced to adapt to the deep forest environment. She has drawn parallels between the crawlers and the myths of wendigos and skinwalkers from various Native American cultures, suggesting a common origin. Cryptozoologist Jacob Flynn has also made significant contributions in this field. He has conducted numerous field investigations, collecting alleged crawler footprint casts, hair samples, and even audio recordings. Flynn's work is largely focused on proving the existence of the crawlers through empirical evidence. Yet, despite the compelling efforts of researchers like Hargrove and Flynn, the existence of the crawlers remains shrouded in mystery. The quest for definitive proof continues, as does the intrigue and fascination surrounding these enigmatic beings. Despite the compelling evidence and testimonies, many skeptics question the existence of the crawlers. They argue that the sightings, sounds, and physical traces attributed to these creatures can be rationalized using more conventional explanations. One common argument is that many crawler sightings are simply cases of mistaken identity. It is not uncommon for people to misinterpret the sight of known animals, especially in the dark or in dense foliage. A bear standing on its hind legs, or a deer caught in the headlights, can easily be mistaken for something otherworldly. Similarly, the shrieking sounds often attributed to crawlers could be the cries of foxes or barn owls, both of which can emit chilling, human-like screams. Moreover, skeptics point out that the physical evidence associated with the crawlers often fails to hold up under scientific examination. The so-called crawler footprints and hair samples, they argue, are usually identified as belonging to common woodland creatures. The alleged remains, too, often turn out to be from known animals, further fueling skepticism. Hoaxes also play a significant role in the crawler mythos. It's not unheard of for people to fabricate sightings or make false claims for attention or to perpetuate the myth. In the age of digital technology, creating convincing photographs or audio recordings has become easier than ever. Finally, skeptics argue that the theory of crawlers being an ancient hominid species is purely speculative. They point out that there's no concrete archaeological evidence to support the existence of a humanoid species fitting the crawler description. Furthermore, they highlight the lack of a consistent biological basis for the crawlers. The creatures are often described as impossibly thin and pale, capable of moving with an uncanny speed, traits that, according to skeptics, push the boundaries of biological plausibility. Yet, despite these rational perspectives, the mystery of the crawlers persists. The accounts are too numerous, the fear too palpable, and the intrigue too enticing to dismiss outright. Whether or not the crawlers are real, they have undoubtedly carved out a niche in the annals of cryptozoology and continue to captivate the imagination of those who dare to delve into the mysteries of the deep woods. The enigma of the crawlers extends beyond fringe belief systems and individual accounts. It has been caught in the crosshairs of government scrutiny and media attention, adding another layer of intrigue to this ongoing tale. There are whispers of classified documents, government cover-ups, and sensational news stories that have kept the mystery of these pale humanoids simmering on the edge of the public consciousness. In the late 1970s, a series of Freedom of Information Act requests led to the declassification of a batch of government documents that obliquely referenced an ongoing investigation into unidentified humanoid creatures in the Pacific Northwest. The documents, while heavily redacted, suggested that authorities had been taking the reports seriously, at least at some level. Although the government never officially acknowledged the existence of the crawlers, these documents fanned the flames of speculation. The media, too, has played a pivotal role in shaping the narrative around the crawlers. Sensational news stories have often picked up on sightings and encounters, sometimes exaggerating the details in the process. Some newspapers and magazines have even featured articles on the crawlers, complete with artist renderings of the humanoid creatures based on eyewitness accounts. Television networks, attracted by the intrigue surrounding the crawlers, have commissioned documentaries exploring the phenomenon. These productions have often presented a mix of eyewitness accounts, expert commentary, speculative theories, and dramatized reenactments. However, these documentaries, while they have brought the crawlers to a wider audience, have often been criticized for their lack of rigorous scientific examination and their penchant for sensationalism. Journalists and filmmakers who have ventured into the deep woods in search of the crawlers have returned with tales of eerie silence, inexplicable cold spots, and the sensation of being watched. Some have reported finding strange tracks and other physical evidence, though these findings have often been dismissed by skeptics as the work of hoaxers or the result of misidentification. The response of authorities and the media to the crawlers phenomenon presents a curious paradox. On one hand, the lack of concrete evidence and scientific validation casts doubt on the existence of these creatures. On the other hand, the persistence of eyewitness accounts, the insinuations in declassified documents, and the media's fascination with the crawlers continue to keep the mystery alive. Despite the ongoing debate, one thing remains certain: the crawlers, whether real or imagined, have captured the public's imagination like few other cryptids. The pale humanoids of the deep woods remain an enticing enigma, a testament to humanity's fascination with the unknown and the unexplained. Investigating the origins and evolution of the crawler mythos, one cannot help but notice striking similarities with other cryptid phenomena and regional folklore. These patterns and parallels can be found in cultures worldwide, from ancient myths to indigenous beliefs, suggesting a shared cultural memory, or perhaps even a universal, primal fear of the unknown. In North American native folklore, for instance, the Wendigo is a creature that bears an uncanny resemblance to the crawlers. The Wendigo, often described as a gaunt, skeletal figure with a pallid complexion, is said to roam the forests, its eerie presence rendering the wilderness silent. The connection between the Wendigo and the crawlers is hard to ignore, especially given the recurring themes of silence, fear, and an elusive, haunting presence that permeates both legends. Across the Atlantic, in the folklore of the British Isles, we find tales of the sluagh, spectral beings that fly through the night skies. Though not as physically similar to the crawlers as the Wendigo, the sluagh share the same eerie qualities. Their silent, watchful nature and their association with desolate wilderness areas mirror the crawler encounters. In Eastern Europe, the descriptions of the mythical strigoi, creatures of the night associated with death and decay, also bear uncanny similarities to the crawlers. The strigoi are said to be pale, gaunt figures, often seen skulking in the shadows, instilling fear in those who encounter them. The Australian Aboriginal lore talks of the Yaramayahu, a creature that lurks in the shadows of the deep forests, its presence often felt more than seen. The fear it generates, the silence it commands in its vicinity, and its elusive nature are all elements that we see recurring in the crawler phenomenon. And, in the far reaches of the Himalayas, we find legends of the Yeti, or the abominable snowman. While this creature is typically depicted as more beast-like and ferocious than the crawlers, its elusive nature, its association with remote wilderness areas, and the fear and awe it inspires are all shared characteristics. In each of these myths and legends, we find elements that align with the stories surrounding the crawlers. These similarities raise intriguing questions. Are these disparate stories, from cultures separated by time and geography, all describing the same phenomenon? Or do they represent a universal human response to the fear of the unknown, the unexplored, and the unseen? Either way, the crawler phenomenon taps into something deeply embedded in human consciousness, something that transcends cultural and geographical boundaries. The pale humanoids of the deep woods continue to haunt our collective imagination, a testament to our enduring fascination with the unexplained and the mysterious. As we venture into the 21st century, technology has reshaped our approaches to exploring the enigma of the crawlers. Digital media and advanced equipment have become invaluable tools for the modern-day hunter of the unknown, and recent evidence of crawler encounters reflects this shift. One of the most significant breakthroughs in this field came with the advent of trail cameras and drones, which have allowed enthusiasts to monitor and record remote, inaccessible wilderness areas around the clock. This has led to a surge in visual evidence, with a number of startling images and videos emerging in recent years. One such instance occurred in Northern California in 2015, when a trail camera captured a series of unsettling images. The photos displayed a gaunt, pale figure, hunched over and seemingly moving on all fours. But what sent a shiver down the spines of those who saw them was its eerie resemblance to the descriptions of the crawlers from various global folklores. Meanwhile, in Ohio, a drone operator claimed to have filmed a bizarre skeletal creature in 2017. The footage shows a thin, white figure appearing to dart between the trees at an unnatural speed, a characteristic often attributed to crawlers in eyewitness accounts. The rise of the internet and social media has also played a pivotal role in the modern pursuit of the crawlers. A video posted on a popular platform in 2018 went viral, amassing millions of views. It showed a hiker's encounter with what he claimed was a crawler, the footage revealing a pallid skeletal figure skulking in the deep woods. These images and videos, along with countless first-hand accounts shared online, have sparked a new wave of interest and debate. Skeptics argue that these could be fabrications, clever uses of CGI, or misidentified wildlife. However, others contend that the consistency in the imagery and the descriptions of the crawlers across various sightings lends credibility to the phenomenon. While it's true that technology has its limitations and can be manipulated, it cannot be denied that it has provided us with new and compelling forms of evidence. As we continue to harness these technological advancements, we inch closer to unraveling the mystery of the crawlers. Whether these pale humanoids from the deep woods are a shared figment of our collective imagination or something more tangible, only time will tell. The allure of cryptids, like the crawlers, extends far beyond the thrill of the unknown. They are manifestations of deep-seated psychological, cultural, and symbolic meanings that resonate deeply within us. The crawlers, with their spectral pallor and alien form, embody our most primal fears, tapping into a universal dread of the uncanny, the unfamiliar, and the predatory. The crawlers exemplify the archetype of the other, entities that are beyond our understanding, dwelling in spaces we cannot penetrate. This archetype has persisted throughout human history, from ancient myths and religious teachings to modern science fiction and horror genres. By confronting the other, we explore the boundaries of our understanding and challenge our perceived realities. However, our fascination with these entities extends beyond the fear they induce. Cryptids like the crawlers also represent a subconscious longing for the extraordinary, a desire to break free from the constraints of the known and mundane. They symbolize the deep woods themselves, vast, enigmatic, and resistant to the encroachment of civilization. In many ways, the crawlers are a reflection of our inherent dualities, They are a symbol of our fear of the unknown, yet simultaneously a representation of our yearning for discovery. They embody the dichotomy between civilization and wilderness, safety and danger, knowledge and mystery. This duality is a significant factor for the enduring allure of the crawlers. The cultural significance of the crawlers is also worth noting. Different cultures worldwide have their own versions of pale, humanoid entities that lurk in the woods, suggesting a shared cultural memory or mythos. This universality further deepens the intrigue surrounding these beings, laying bare our collective unconsciousness and revealing shared narratives that transcend geographical boundaries. The crawlers, much like other cryptids, serve as a mirror to our collective psyche. They reflect our deepest fears and desires, our hunger for exploration, and our dread of the unknown. They are a reminder of the thin line we tread between the familiar and the unfamiliar, the seen and the unseen, the comprehensible and the inexplicable. As we delve into the enigma of the crawlers, we are, in effect, exploring the labyrinthine depths of our own minds. What we find there might be as unsettling and illuminating as the crawlers themselves. In unraveling the enigma of the crawlers, we are faced with the profound human instinct to seek out the unknown, to question the unexplained, and to probe the boundaries of our understanding. These pale humanoids from the deep woods are reflective of mankind's ceaseless quest for knowledge, even when that knowledge lies in the dark recesses of the unexplored or the supernatural. They embody our fascination with the enigmatic, the eerie, and the arcane. While the crawlers remain shrouded in mystery, and their existence is subject to speculation, one thing is clear. The allure they hold is indicative of the human propensity to believe in what cannot be seen or fully understood. It is a testament to our capacity for wonder, our willingness to entertain the implausible, and our insatiable curiosity about the world around us. This is apparent in the multitude of legends, myths, and tales of cryptids that pervade cultures worldwide. The crawlers, and cryptids like them, also serve as a reminder of the delicate balance between belief and evidence. In today's age of scientific and technological advancement, we often seek tangible proof, empirical data, and concrete facts. Yet the enduring fascination with these beings signifies that there remains a part of us that is drawn to the unverifiable, the speculative, the mythical. The fact that these mysteries refuse to die, that they persist despite the lack of irrefutable evidence, speaks to the power of shared narratives and collective belief. These tales continue to thrive because they tap into our primal fears and desires, providing a means to explore our shared human condition. They offer a way to confront our anxieties about the unknown and to express our yearning for discovery. In the end, the legend of the crawlers is not just a tale of spectral beings lurking in the deep woods. It is a reflection of our relationship with the unknown, our struggle between belief and skepticism, and our enduring fascination with the mysteries that lie beyond the edge of our understanding. As we contemplate the enigma of the crawlers, we are reminded that the world is far more complex and mysterious than we can ever fully comprehend. And in this realization, we find a strange sense of comfort, a reassurance that there will always be mysteries to unravel, enigmas to explore, and tales to tell. Thanks for listening. This has been Cryptid Files. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.